Well, this is 10th of October, Thursday. The hurricane sounds like it went right on through Florida. I haven't heard how Get Swamped is doing down there, Robbie. And two Lees in a pod, Lisa down there. Hopefully everybody is well, and hope none of you got flooded out. I seen the last, well, a little bit ago, I looked on there at last live that Robbie had on there, and he was getting nailed pretty hard down there. It sounded like he had some damage to his carport. It's totaled, and it looked like he was pretty beat from running back and forth checking fencing. I don't know what time that his live was put up. Prayers and best hopes go down there to him. I know that he has a big job trying to keep everything together down there, and I guess he could use all our prayers out there when something like that goes through. And when the last I seen of Lisa on there, well, I timed out because I was tired. I went on to bed. I had some flu shots done Monday, my wife and I did. And it kind of affects us a little bit sometimes. And so we had a couple of days of real rough days. It was more than just sore arms, the headache and the just hard to get around sometimes. You get everything aches on you like you got a touch of the flu. We ended up with the seasonal flu shot and the COVID one both, and we didn't need the RSV. We had our shot last year for the RSV. For some reason I'm a little tired today, but it's not from working hard, that's for sure. Like I say, I hope everybody's doing fine out there. I did happen to get on there and check a video put up by the creator, Germ. I don't know why they call him a creator. He's anything but that. I don't know. It seems like he may be reaching quite a bit. I used to deal with a lot of people, in the corporate world a lot of years ago. I mean, we're talking 40 years ago. And I met people that were pre-positioned like him. They had a grandeur outlook on themselves, and really didn't have much respect for those around them because they were the center of it all. And of course, this is my opinion, so just so you know, I think he thought I was the elderly gentleman or whatever he called me. But he probably is in a little bit of a tailspin. He's able to spin yarns pretty good, and he's got a following that'll follow him no matter what he says. And like I say, I've dealt with people like that before in the corporate world. A lot of them, they are successful because, well, you've heard of the corporate heart, right? It's a cold heart. And a lot of it has to do with the same, if you want to call it qualities, that this guy has. But the cold heart, I guess, is the one that would best describe it's a matter of doing things without conscience. This is about the only way I can describe it. And he really, if you watch body language when he's talking, he says things, and when it should be a positive, his head will turn back and forth. You can go on any do-it-yourself video about body language, reading it, and you'll get kind of an inkling of how to tell when somebody is telling you a truth or a slight truth or something that doesn't make sense at all, only to the perpetrator or the speaker. And I would suggest for you guys, before you take everything that he says, that you go look at one of them channels and pick up on those tell. And he has quite a few tells. He would be a very poor poker player. And he likes to refer to the people out here as checker players, and he is the chess player. And that's as if he knows how to play better than anybody else. And playing chess for me is kind of like, it's mechanical. Your mind looks out there, and the quicker you can see the possible moves, the better off or the better you can play. And so when you're looking at the chessboard, and if you played with that person before, you get an inkling of the plays that they're going to make before they make them. And if you watch, I don't know if you guys have ever watched chess players, on the international circuit or not, but they all have a different perspective towards the game as to how it's played. And the more they know about their opponent, the more chance they have of beating that person. And you can make one or two moves wrong and get away with it in most instances. But in reality, players that have one heck of a memory, number one, and they can picture the moves very quickly. It's kind of like an engineer looking at a structure, the steel skeleton, if you will, and looking at the stress points. What they see will be a bunch of arrows showing the different strengths. In their head, they're saying, I should have had a gusset there, or, I needed a heavier beam there. It's in your mind, it's mechanical, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's what chess is, mechanical. And I love the way he keeps referring back to this thing as if he's a genius. But he's far from a genius. He is good at business, because he wouldn't have got where he's at if he wasn't. And he knows how to play the drama game, which anybody that's ever taken any debate classes or had to put on seminars or anything like that, you get very adept at reading your audience and being able to motivate them. And you do say things repetitiously, because most audiences, if they don't hear it 3 times, they won't remember it. Okay, so somewhere in there, what you want to get across, the main point, just put it in there 3 times. So the next time you listen to this guy, listen to the things that he's brought up multiple times within that speech, or within his little seminar that he's given you. And they are seminars, by the way. I look at it and I'm thinking, well, he did get out of first grade. He does like to ring his own bell, and I know all of you have seen that. The ego makes it so he rings his own bell, which is fine. He can do that. Over the years in the the corporate world. I worked in nuclear projects for quite a while till I was in my early 40s when I finally stepped out and changed careers. But there was a time there where it was a fast-paced world, and you're subject to any time to get a clearance, security clearance, you had to take these huge psychological exams. And if you can't pass them, you don't get to mess around in a plant, especially when it's an operational plant. And after you take them long enough, and if you work for the same company long enough, sometimes you get a pass. It's just a very quick ordeal. You walk in and they check your files and say, okay, and they hand you a badge so that you can walk in different places of the plant. I had reached that state long before I quit walking these plants down. By the way, these exams, usually you're involved with them for a couple of days. You have to take a certain amount of classes for the plant itself, and then you sit down for the exam, which can run anywhere from about 400 to a little better than 900 questions. And they tell things about you that even surprise you that you didn't realize. So, and it's all computerized as far as evaluations. It's not somebody sitting there with a pencil looking through it. The way you answer it eventually comes out as to it's a logical examination is what it is of your psychic. I could just imagine what his would be like, the outcome of it. I could probably write it down on a piece of paper and hit it pretty close. I don't know as if I would, in my opinion, whether I would trust somebody like that. I've had people work for me that had that attitude, better than thou. And usually there's a problem with them somewhere down the line where they cross lines that you don't want crossed in the business world. You have to be very careful when you're dealing in big business. And he's a babe in the woods when it comes to what I consider big business. The world of the billionaires is different than the world of the millionaires. I can tell you that by an astounding amount. And it's a different club. Now, just to give you an example, in the construction world, you had back 40 years ago or 50 years ago, the first plateau is 50,000, then a million, and then you go 20 million. At 20 million, that would open the door for a lot of big projects. And if you had a little bit of a background of a few of those projects under your belt, you would get a lot of invitations for multi-million-dollar contracts. And then when you belong to the billionaire section, which is up quite a ways, the banks like to come around and help you out. Because there, you have a certain worth, and your cash supply down here makes your bond worth. So the lower the bond, the better risk you are. So you have to build up this amount of money at a certain level. Give an example, when Trump got hit with having to pay cash out for a settlement, or at least for these bonding at it. They were taking cash from his reserve, and when they do that, that's a worry, because you can be a multi-billionaire, a multi-billionaire, but the cash, this ready cash you have, makes a difference of how much you can borrow to make your next deal, because you can be invested and be worth a lot of money, and yet overnight be broke because of not meeting your obligations. And the bonding company looks at that reserve that you've got down here, so that can you get through a crisis, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, a year, of meeting your obligations of borrowed monies. And depending on what your rating is, makes a difference of how much interest you're going to pay on that money. It's always like this. It's floating. I get I'm not rich, by the way, but I get a idea of real credit, and it floats like that. And a couple of times, I've had mine jump down, and it was never in a poor section, but jump down and make me worry about it. And I go in there and say, okay, what happened? And it's rarely anything to do with what I actually did. It's more about whatever company was actually looking at their interest in my system, what I'm doing. And I don't have any big interest in anything financial. I'm just a average Joe out there that fools with a little bit of stock and pension and obviously Social Security, stuff like that makes life interesting and keeps you on the straight and narrow. You have to have your hand out there touching things to make sure that you're operating at a level that will bring you financial security. Let's put it that way. Well, these guys that I met, in business with this particular guy's, the way he operates, he actually has stepped outside of what I call good business when he took on a personal vendetta and mixed it with a business. And it become more like a hobby. And when your interest zeroes in on that, your meat and potatoes over here starts going down. And you have to be very careful, because if something goes wrong with this new thing, this personal vendetta, this new hobby, which can go very quickly in the, let's say, courts in this instance. The meat and potatoes over here, that's always been the one that kept you going, can fail because you paid too much attention over here. In the world of YouTubers, when you concentrate on a certain thing, and they always like say, well, the algorithm brings me back. Because you spend too much time worrying about people that are coming to look at your channel. You worry too much time about how many subs are sub to your channel. And along with that comes the monetary returns. And each of us, now, you call me what do you call it, anonymously. I'm on here as a hobby, and monetarily, it's a zero. It's just zero, nothing. I don't get anything out of it. It's just something I fool with. Kind of like a game of chess, if you will. And my odds of ever growing the channel, because obviously my attitude is I don't care about the damn money. Therefore, I don't have any particular goal on financial returns. So why would I worry during the night about something I don't? I worry about my own personal income, but not something, I don't depend on this. But other people, like this guy, he does depend heavily on this thing. And when he got off course, he's putting a lot of eggs in one basket, something that I don't do. I learned a lesson early on about doing that. And there was a time where my ego let me drive my business. A long time ago. Now, I learned my lesson before I was 30. I found out you leave your ego behind you and let the good sense up here, the good Lord give you, drive your business regime. This is going to be probably a downfall for this guy, I would say. And that's just an opinion. Because of, like I say, he put too many eggs in one basket. It's going to be hard for him to turn it around. Because, actually, he took his algorithm and he started pushing it in this direction. Now, he knows that I'm right. But he's not going to admit it to anybody out there because his ego is overriding his business sense. Now, is he making out great? Well, according to all the stats on there, there is a little program called Stats out there. You can bring it up, and you can look up anybody's channel, and it'll tell you how much they can make. Of course, what they're doing is they're telling you how much they make according to subs and the people that are actually watching your channel, how long they do, and all that stuff. And they come up with a low-high estimate clear over on the end of what they think that you're going to do. It's an average of the low-high. But it also, in real terms, it tells you, let's say you have memberships, okay? And they're so much. So these people, that's a steady income. As long as you can keep them happy. And you can tell if they're happy or not by the stats. So it's important to have the stats, right? You want it to be analyzed. So when that algorithm hits you and you find out, oh, shoot, if I get off this plateau, I'm coming down. I don't want that. There's another thing. There's merch that you're selling. And the amount of merch you sell is dependent on the people that are looking at your channel. Because you constantly have to say, I have a new hoodie. I have a new t-shirt. I have this. What about whatnot? All these things are dependent on the people that come to your channel and watch it. And so here's your base. Drama brings them in. And you provide the drama to bring all that money with it. Because the happier they are, the more money you got in your pocket. Now, depending on the age, so let's get people that are 55 and older. And you want to have this live chat over here. And you call a few people out and you say, hey, pat them on the back a little bit. And pretty soon that live chat starts revolving up there, those little squares with anywhere from 99 cents all the way up to surprising figures sometimes. Wow. So while you're talking, and you can adjust, by the way, you can drive that. Well, that's great. So let's bring a little drama into this whole thing. So you find out, well, do threats do it? Oh, what if I fall down and break my leg? Well, the breaking the leg will bring in the stuff in a GoFund and all that stuff. It'll bring you stuff on the chat too because, people feel so bad for you. They're giving you that extra fund. But the drama, that brings the people out. And if you can feed what they're thirsting for, they want the bad things in life. So you create this bad thing in life, and you keep it up here. Keep bouncing it up. The better you are at it, the more money you make. But still, it always reflects back. How many people have I got? And how many people watch, and how long do they watch? And my sales, they just go like that. And up they go. Oh my, there's some out there that, they're 1-2 million subscribers and they get on there and they carry a lot of weight. It's kind of the club, like the Billionaires Club I was telling you about. When you get to a certain size, it'll be automatic growth as long as you can keep your boundaries within this group that's driving the algorithm up there. And then you don't have to work as hard, but you have people that work for you. They'll do the work. And this guy is at the point now where he's got enough people. When he creates a problem out there, he has people down there that will follow through without him saying a word. You don't have to say anything. Sometimes he gets in a hurry, if you noticed. And he gets worried. You can tell when he's worried. I would say right now, he has a problem. He's let some things get outside of the boundaries of good sense. This thing will play out pretty soon. Will it affect him the rest of his life? No. You're talking, this guy, you could knock him down 100 times and he'll get back up. He knows what it takes to get back up there and make a few bucks here and there. He knows how to control the atmosphere around him. Have no fear. If your fair-headed boy gets into a big problem, he'll land on his feet somewhere, maybe not around where you'll hear him, but believe me, he will not go down without a squawk. Yeah, I see him. Like I say, read the body language, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's very easy to figure out. You know, our company, now this goes back a lot of years ago. Our top guy in the division I was in, he loved to play poker. And the reason was he could read people so well. The reason he had the position he did is because he could read people. And the reason I was in the position I had was I could. Well, at Christmas party, the company would hand out cash money to each employee. And we would get card games going, elimination. And usually it come down to just him and I. Now, to let you know, we knew each other for years before he went to that company. We knew each other because of his father. His father was a business person, and him and I worked for his father for a while. And he was a college kid back then, and he would work summers. And when he got into big business eventually, like I say, he was very good at reading people, and that's what put him in that position eventually. He was one of the top dogs. Not the top dog, but one of them. Well, I guess I've explained things in a matter of maybe talking in parables, giving you examples of different ways of trying to evaluate a situation or not evaluate it if you don't. That particular person, I think that he's just about reached the end of the line on this particular story. I think that it's going to come to a very quick end when it does come. But I also will tell you, it will not be the end of him. His type, they roll over and they start all over again. They're not happy, and they will never admit that they lost anything. They win no matter what. Even though you and I would consider them a loser, their mind will never accept that. Never. So keep that in mind when he's talking and when he says, I have never lost a court case. I'm a winner. And you believe it. Yeah, I think you better look close. I think it would be a good idea if you did. And like I say, read the body language. And then maybe you'll look at it from the same perspective that I do. With that, oh yeah. Again, here, this is I'm going to end this in a couple minutes here. A big shout out to Get Swamped down there, Robbie. I hope everything is going well. To Lisa out there and Tori and all those involved with two Lee's in the pod. I hope everything went okay down there in Florida for you. I haven't seen anything this afternoon or even this morning about the results. At least none of you have got back on here. I also noticed that Millstown's best, Super Dave, he was on there yesterday. It looks like he's been in just a slight little go around out there. Looks like, I think he's up and running and feeling great. At least I hope he is. He's like a breath of fresh air out there when he's out there doing his thing on his channel. Super Dave, hope you get on there today sometime. Look forward to see what you come up with today, or even this evening if you do. Bruce, I hope you get in there if they come live tonight or tomorrow, whenever they decide to can get up and running, and keep us abreast of what the legalities of everything that's going on out there. Psychobabble Rap, I'm hoping that your brother is doing better. I hope he's having better days rather than bad days. And my prayers go out to you and your brother both. I know it's trying times. And for Guapo, I guess you were on that private live screening, whatever it was out there that the germ put out. I don't know why he's so upset with you, but man, whew. I'd say he's trying to walk across a bed of coals, and he keeps screaming at you for heating him up, I think. I mean, from what I can see, I think he's more worried about you than everybody else. And so there has to be a reason, but reading the body language when he talks about you, you can see that there is a resignation in the way he reacts when he's talking about you. And he does it on a regular basis. So I would say, Guapo, look at some of them things on YouTube for body language so that you can read this guy. That way you'll be able to tell when he's going to come out full blast with his little barrage. The thing I would advise is do it first. If you wait for him to take the first swing, you could lose, and you don't want to be that person. It's like a boxing match. If you don't take the first punch, you may not get the next punch. And that's about it. By golly. I think I reached the end of advice today. And it was long-winded. And I give you a couple parables to think about so that you can give you something to research. You know, it's like when you were in school and you had homework to do. If you learn how to read people, you can learn how to avoid them. And I don't know. It's almost like a game. And just like the germ said, he's good at chess. Well, he says he is. I haven't really heard him say just what kind of method he uses to determine how good he is at chess. Like I say, a good mechanical mind with a fair memory will see the moves. Every time you take a move, he will see everything that's possible off from there. You can determine who's going to be a good chess player just by, with a good psychological exam, actually. You can do it. With that, what do you think? Shall we call it a day? Let's see how many people get on here. You know, I've got so many people that hate me for some of the advice I give and some of the determinations I come up with these people that are afraid to jump in there with an open mind and say, okay, I can see that opinion. I can see that. And once you can see it, then you'll be able to judge, okay? All right, that's it. Now you have a good day, and I hope the good Lord opens up your eyes and gives you a great day today. I hope everybody down there in Florida has a brighter outlook. I hope that the storms subside enough so you can get repaired down there. And with that, it's goodbye.